we're going to talk about an article that was posted in The Onion. Red Sox fan dedicates garbage can he's lighting on fire to marathon victims. And the article starts out that 15 minutes after the Boston Red Sox defeated the St. Louis Cardinals to become World Series champions, sources are now confirming that local man Bradley Ferret, 26, is dedicating the trash can he's lighting on fire to the victims of April's Boston Marathon bombing. So, what type of comments do people post about this on Facebook? Well, let's go have a look. Daniel Decker says, too soon. Really not funny, Onion. Insensitive and disgusting. I'm appalled at this, and this publication should be ashamed of yourself. People are dead. Wow, you're fucking stupid for posting this. Have some fucking respect. Disgusting. It was an attack on our country. I'm no longer following The Onion. Go fuck yourselves. Can we all be reminded this is mockery of a little boy who was killed? Have some fucking class, you assholes. Not funny if you were close to someone that was there. No, never mind. Not funny anyway. Let's look at some articles online. And this is something, you cannot make this stuff up. Photo, crowd gathers at finish line of Boston Marathon to celebrate Red Sox win. Look at this shit. Like, are people for real? They're actually running out at the finish line of the Boston Marathon because the Red Sox won the World Series? Here's an article from CBS News about Boston strong. Red Sox defeat Cardinals to win World Series. And you know it's going to mention the marathon, so here it is. This time they were Boston strong, playing for a city shaken by the marathon bombings in April. We can go to USA Today. Home at last. Red Sox win World Series at Fenway. And you can just search for marathon. There it is. Tears of joy, tears of elation, tears of memories from that horrific April 15th afternoon when two bomb blasts brought the Boston Marathon and city to its knees. Well, there's several things going on here. First of all, many people were upset at The Onion for that satirical article when really the only thing The Onion is doing is using comedy as art to show the absurdity in mainstream media stories. That people think running out and acting like a moron is somehow related to victims of the Boston Marathon bombing. Completely absurd. If people really want to be offended, instead of being offended at The Onion, they should be offended at mainstream media and Major League Baseball for using the Boston Marathon bombings as an excuse to sell the product of Major League Baseball, which is really what's going on. That's not just the product of Major League Baseball, it's the product of media articles about it. And so they just use Boston Marathon bombing as an excuse to sell baseball. That should be offensive. But people are not offensive because the media is not telling them to be offensive. So they're offensive at the satire that's shoving it in their face, the absurdity, the lies that they're buying into. When The Onion uses comedy as art to tell people the nonsense that they believe, they become offended at The Onion. Because the only people who are going to be offended at that Onion article are those people who really believe that Boston has collectively suffered through the marathon bombings and this Red Sox victory in the World Series is somehow making up for it or is repairing some wound from that, which is completely ridiculous. Then we have the notion of collective suffering. Sometimes when there is a media event, when there's some type of real event, the media then says the city is suffering through this. The nation is suffering. So with the Boston Marathon, then it's like the city of Boston is suffering. Or with a 9/11, we hear that the whole country is suffering. And you'll hear this all the time, that the media will take an article, some story, and they will say, we are all collectively suffering through this. Of course, this is nonsense. People are not collectively suffering. Usually when a bad thing happens, the only people who really suffer through it are those who are directly affected by it. Because the fact of the matter is, every day, very sad, horrible things do happen to random people. Car accidents, just different accidents, people losing their job, poverty. There's a lot of suffering in the world. So why is it that a few people are selected to stand as some object for everyone to collectively suffer with, yet other people are just ignored? And that's because these are made-up media stories. Lots of people dying in car accidents each year doesn't mean anything. And there was actually a quote from Stalin about this. He said, "The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of millions is a statistic." And he understood some things about manipulating people. He was a dictator responsible for the deaths of millions and millions of people. He understood that you could have mass slaughter and no one would care about it. But if you have a personal story about just one person, that's a tragedy, and that can emotionally affect the masses. So the media will take something like the Boston Marathon bombings and tell everyone that they are collectively suffering. And then you have people who really buy into media bullshit and they're watching this and they start to suffer. It's like with 9/11, you have people who would personally suffer through this because the media told them to, but they go out into the street and they can see a homeless person dying on the sidewalk and they won't give a fuck about that. That's media mind control. So let's not buy into collective suffering. Let's not buy into this nonsense that the World Series, some stupid baseball game that has nothing to do with anything, is related to it. Okay, that's it. Bye.